Challah has always been a fun bread to make. It has its origins in Israel, being a Hebrew bread, and also being very much a part of the Torah, which is exactly why I called my channel Torah Kitchen. I enjoy food. I think we all enjoy food. I firmly believe that Yahweh above has given us our food to give us nourishment for our bodies as well as the Word itself. Okay, so where we're going to take the dough is we're going to pull it out of its container. It's nicely risen. You can see that here. Oh, look at that. Look at this. Excellent. Just pull the whole thing out. First we dust a bit of flour on the counter here. It helps to oil the bowl when rising your dough so it comes out without any problems. Look at that. Kneading it through, taking out the stickiness so we can start our bread. And because it's such a large recipe, we're actually going to make 2 loaves out of them. And we'll see the results later. So in general, I'm going to make 2 loaves, pick a divider, and basically why not just weigh it out. There we go, that's good enough for halfway. Just rough estimate, just so you have basically even loaves. We'll set one aside just for now. Now what we do with this is we take this on a scale and we divide it in 3 because we want to make a braid. Again, to balance your loaf and your braids, you want to have it roughly the same weight. 300. Well, there we go. So roughly that. Make from here we get our roll. Just want to give it a bit of a stretch and then roll down and roll out. Okay, now we have our long lengths. Start to spring back a little bit. It does have a bit of elasticity to it. But in general, we're going to show you how to braid the bread. We start by securing and pinching an end by laying on top of each other, pinching it down, folding it over, just give it a twist. And that just stay together. And the idea here is you want it to bind against itself, like I said, because it's elastic, you want it to spring back the other way. So turn the bread in a twist as you layer over to make your braid. So when you bring it over, give the bread a bit of a twist and bring it in. Keep in mind that the dough may look small now, but it does puff up. The yeast is still active. When you're working with the dough, it tends to punch down all the puffiness, but that's okay. It will rise and it will become quite a nice little loaf. Here we go. Twist it against itself again. Again, it's binding against itself. And this keeps the bread from actually opening up and looking loose. Here, and then this one twists like this, and here, and to the finish, again like this. Give it a twist, tuck it under, and the loaf is finished. What we can do with this here now is we can just make the loaf a little bit longer by stretching it out a little bit. We're going to do something a little bit different than having a long bagel style loaf. What we're going to do here, we're just going to turn the bread into something like this and bring that together like that. So I'm just going to lay some paper on top of this so the towel does not stick. Bit of weight for the towel. I'll get a heavier towel, a bit of damp towel, and lay it on top. This will also rest on the heating pad for about 45 more minutes, and we'll see how it all turns out. Here we go, folks. It's been sitting here for roughly about an hour. Just going to peel back the tea towels and such. Pull this right back. And now we have a pretty puffy loaf happening here. But we're not finished yet, folks. What we're going to do is we're going to take an egg and we're going to separate the yolk because we want to have some nice decor to our bread. Good. We now just take the yolk and give it a good stir and paint it liberally along the entire bread. Trying to get into all the corners. Make sure you dance all over. If you need 2 eggs, then get another egg. Not a big deal. Paint it on. It looks like it's a rough shape right now, but when it gets into the oven, it'll puff up. This thing will probably be as big as the pan itself when we're done. It'll be quite surprising how big it actually gets. Excellent, here we go. Okay, now that we've got that all sprinkled with egg yolk, we can just do liberally with sesame seeds. And I like to change it up a little bit, so I do white sesame seeds and then I do some dark sesame seeds at the same time, giving it a whole effect. There we go. There we go, folks. Just like this. And it's ready to go into the oven. Here we go, folks. We're 25 minutes in a convection oven. I just want to check it using a skewer, see if it's sticky or tacky or whatnot, because you don't want to overcook. Convection oven is circulating air and it actually helps cook the food a lot quicker. And instead of 40 minutes in the conventional oven, I think 25 minutes is perfect in a convection oven, because you can see it coming out nice and easily. It's not sticky, it's not moist, and everything is good. And there's my secondary timer going off. Excellent. And there you have it, folks. Challah bread. Shalom. Okay, here we are again, and we're going to braid and leave as a long loaf. Okay, we give it a bit of a pinch, twist, tuck under, and again we're going to go ahead, lay it over, give it 1, 2 twist, back, and twist towards the center all the time. And tuck it into the corner. Here, hold it with the finger, and tuck it to the corner, twist, tuck it to the corner. Here we go. Now you have a nice soft loaf of bread here, ready to go, but you don't want to mess it up too much putting it into your pan. So a real easy way to do that, you take your parchment paper and you fold it in half and just slightly push this back, tuck it under, roll bread gently like this. Roll her back because you want to have the top set right, and then just gently get her resting on the paper. Okay, what I've got done here is I've put it nicely in the tray, nicely covered with the paper and whatnot, on a bit of an angle just to give it a bit more extra length, because it is going to swell, probably get up to about 4 or 5 times its size. And we'll get back to it in about an hour and a half. Once again, we put it on the heating pad and we will see how it looks in that time. Here we are for the second loaf. Check this out. Okay, so like the other one, we're just going to paint on the egg yolk, paint it on nice and liberally, get in there at all the crevices and cracks and crannies. You don't want to pick on the dough too much, like bat it or whatnot. You just want to brush it gently. It might start to fall a little bit, but don't worry too much about that. It just lost its warm environment and it starts to deflate, so when it gets in the oven it's going to actually puff up a little bit more and then cook, which is kind of a neat little feature. The oven actually gives it a little bit more of a boost. Gets them right down the crack here. Check that out. Right along the side. Excellent. And like before, once again, we just take some of our sesame seeds and we can just dress it right up. And as liberally as you want, on the sides and whatnot. And you want to have a bit of color and a bit of balance and make it look quite nice. So you add some white as well. And again, we have ourselves a finished product. And we're all done. In the oven it goes. Here are, folks, the second loaf. Check this out. Look at the size of this thing. Again, we're going to do the skewer. It's not feeling sticky, not wet. It seems to be done. 25 minutes, convection oven, gas oven. That's just the best. Okay, you just let that cool. We'll put this also on the wire rack. There you have it, folks. Challah bread.